Welcome aboard the Story Arc. I'm your captain, Kenny Mears, and let's take a voyage together. The mountains are one of the few staples of the world. Large, unmovable, and in many ways unconquerable. To climb a mountain represents the ultimate sense of conquering something much vaster than yourself. Today's story comes to us from across the Atlantic in the beautiful country of Italy, from our storyteller Sal, who has a story for us today of humor and miracles atop a mountain. Here's Sal.
Hello there, guys. My name is Sal. I'm from Palermo, Italy, although right now I live in Rome, Italy, which is very nice. So I am about to share a story with you that happened a few years ago. This story is very interesting because I was with a friend of mine and we decided to go on a hike one day, and it's a pretty adventurous experience. And so I usually tell this experience when, I want to have a laugh, but also when I share something serious, with some friends about what can happen when you go for a hike. And so I'll start with the story. So one day, it was a winter day. My friend Alex and we decided to go for a hike. It was pretty unplanned. We didn't have a lot of gear with us, and so we decided to stop at a specific point. We parked our car, and then we slowly started to hike towards a mountain. Interestingly enough, we didn't follow a specific path. We just decided to, it wasn't a free climbing as such, but eventually it kind of like ended up being a free climbing. But before that, it's very interesting because when you start, like climbing a mountain or walking a mountain, whatever you want to say it, it's pretty interesting because like the very beginning, it was like a normal walk. It felt as a normal walk. And then all of a sudden, things started to change, and we were walking, like I would say, probably something like the inclination, was different. So at some point we had to, be balanced and not to fall. After a while, things like got pretty interesting, and it was simply, hard to go back to it. So we were like too high, and there was like a cliff behind us. So we were like in trouble because like the weather started to become like really bad. It would get really bad, and it was starting raining, and it was windy and pretty cold actually. So we good thing is like my friend Alex, he had brought like a type of texture, whatever you call it, to protect ourselves from rain, And so we at some point we stopped and we tried to protect ourselves from rain, from the wind, But it was very tragic because we were like in a point where like if you would have done like if you would have walked, to a certain point, then you could have fell down the cliff. We could have died basically. So we were stuck, and we couldn't see anything because the the view, it became really bad because of the fog. The fog set in, so we couldn't see anything. So we didn't know the end of the mountain. We didn't know where like the end of the mountain was. So it was pretty hard. And so I remember we even filmed, I don't know where the filming is, but we filmed a video where we were saying, goodbye to our families and friends, because like we were like, oh, this is it, this is pretty intense, And all of a sudden we decided to And my friend Alex, he belongs to another church, and he's a Christian too. But we decided to pray, so we offered a prayer, and I then offered a prayer as well. And to our astonishment, after the prayer, the skies just opened. It was interesting though that before that we had called the rescue service, which in Italy is free. You don't have to pay for it. It's not like in the States where you pay for it. So that's kind of a good thing. So we called for the rescue service. We tried to tell them where we were, but we were in trouble still. But after the prayer, then the skies opened, and then we saw the end of the mountain, which it wasn't too far away from us. So we literally, did a little bit of free climbing, and we reached the very top of the mountain. And then once we reached the summit of the mountain, we found out that there was like a plain. It was pretty plain on top of the mountain on the other side, and we saw animals. We saw some bulls, and we had knives with us. With even though I don't think it was a very smart thing to scream at the bulls or stuff like that. That's what we did. We were like euphoric. We were alive, so we were like, okay, we can do it, whatever it takes. We won't be scared to face the bulls, or they flee away. They ran away from us, and then we eventually started walking down a path that was going to lead us. We didn't know where. All of a sudden we saw like these park rangers approaching us, and they basically, you know, gave us a ride down the mountain. And it was interesting, kind of funny, like the conversation we had with the rangers, were like in Italian, God is Dio. And the guy was saying like, Dio, so God. And if it's very simple to understand God. So if you remove the D from because God, as I said before in Italian, is like DIO. You say like if you remove the D from the DIO, then you will obtain the EO, which means me, I. So he said it's simple. God, it's I. I am God. That's what the guy said, and we always like laughed about what the guy was saying because it was pretty funny. That he described himself as God and. Uh, but and they didn't believe us at the very big. I mean, they were like, so yeah, you're saying that you were there and you said a prayer and all the sky opened. They thought we were kind of like crazy. They didn't believe us as we shared our spiritual experience. But I think what we learned from that experience is like that. First of all, you have to be careful when you try to venture to a new adventure, when you do like crazy things without planning, without being prepared. So if you do something like that and you're not prepared, then you gotta face the consequences, and sometimes consequences can be even deadly, if you do the wrong choice. But also, like on a spiritual note, it was pretty interesting how, literally, for those who believe, when we address ourselves to God, and He's always there for us. And in that case, I'm very happy that He answered our prayers, and we managed to be safe. And it's a story that we always tell to people when we wanna, first of all, make them laugh about our craziness of going to the mountains without planning anything. And then on the other end, we always share this experience to strengthen people's belief, beliefs in God and in their faith and stuff like that. So it was pretty interesting as an experience. And another thing I remember, when the Rangers were looking for us, that was funny because Alex at that time had a girlfriend, and the girlfriend thought that we were like with a car, Like let's say we had a yellow car, but then we had a red car. So they were looking for the yellow car when we came with the red car. So that was pretty funny as well. And so that's the experience. Pretty simple, but I hope you guys will enjoy it. Thanks for listening.
This story arc is a production of Food for Thought Audio. This episode was written, produced, and edited by me, Kenny Mears. We'd like to thank today's storyteller Sal for sharing his story. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, YouTube, or Instagram, or wherever you listen to podcasts for more content. And until next time, thanks for listening.